We are covering chapter 17 of CRPC, the charge. Part A is form of charges. Let's cover section 216 and 217. Before we begin, let's do a quick revision. It helps you remember the sections faster. As you know, we have already covered section 211. It has 7 parts, which says state name, define and state the law and sections in which it comes. If facts are fulfilled, the charge should be in written and the previous conviction, if any, must be mentioned. Section 212 is TPP, time, place and person, gross sum and property should be mentioned. If both the things of section 211 and 212 is not helping in preparing a proper charge, then section 213 says the manner in which offense is committed must be stated. Section 214 says the sense of law under which it comes must be mentioned. And if there is an error, this is 215 says the errors can be ignored only in two conditions: if it does not mislead or it caused failure of justice. We have already covered all these sections in detail in our previous video lectures. Today we're gonna cover section 216, which is the power of the code to add or alter, and we'll read and explain. If the code has add or altered, it will process as its original charge. The court can begin a new trial or adjourn and previous sanctions. Let's cover the section 216 in detail. Section 216, court may alter charge. Subsection 1 of section 216 says any court may alter or add. Now these are two things which you need to remember, that the court can either alter the charge or add in the charge to any charge at any time. Any time means even if the case has been processed, it may be at final stage as well, but before judgment is pronounced. It is very obvious if the decision has been taken, then there is no use of adding or altering in the charge. Subsection 2 of section 216 says every such alteration or addition shall be read and explained to the accused. Now this is something very interesting. When the court alter or add to the charge, he always read and explain to the accused in the court. Why this is done? Well, so that the accused cannot take the advantage that, hey, I was not knowing. When did you alter it? When did you add the charge? Then the court may say, hey, don't fool us. We read it in the court for you. Next is subsection 3 of 216. It says if the alteration or addition to the charge is such that the proceeding immediately with the trial is not likely, in opinion of the court, to prejudice the accused in his defense or the prosecutor in the conduct of the case, the court may, in its discretion, after such alteration or addition has been made, proceed with the trial as if the altered or added charge had been the original charge. I hope you got the point, that the court is going to proceed with the case after adding or altering the charge if the condition is if it does not prejudice the accused in his defense or it does not affect the prosecutor in conducting the case. Now this is the discretion of the court, which means you cannot stress on the court whether you should do it or you should not do it. It is the discretion of the court. The court can adjourn or the court can proceed with the case as its original. This is what subsection 3 of 216 says. Subsection 4 of 216. If the alteration or the addition is such that the proceeding immediately with the trial is likely, in the opinion of the court, to prejudice the accused or the prosecutor as aforesaid, the court may either direct a new trial or adjourn the trial for such period as may be necessary. We covered in subsection 3 that the court can proceed with the case as its original after addition or alteration of the charge. But subsection 4 says if the court is of the opinion that it is affecting the accused, it is affecting the prosecutor to run the case or to proceed with the case, he may not be able to defend himself. Normally what we see, the court does adjourn for such period of a time so that the defense can be given time to prepare the defense. So this is what subsection 4 of 216 says, that the time should be given them. But the condition is that the accused or the prosecutor is being affected. Let me tell you, generally it does affect. So subsection 4 of 216 generally comes into operation. Only minor things are being ignored and proceeded. Otherwise, in majority of the cases, it is adjourned so that the defense can prepare the defense. Next is subsection 5 of 216. It says if the offense stated in the altered or added charge is one for the prosecution for which previous sanction is necessary, the case shall not be proceeded with until such sanction is obtained, unless a sanction has been already obtained for a prosecution on the same facts as those on which the altered or added charge is founded. Now, if the sanction is required for altering or adding a charge, then the previous sanction has to be taken. The court cannot alter or add the charge until and unless the previous sanction has been taken. There's one more point. In subsection 4 of 216, we covered that if addition or alteration has been done in the charge, the court may direct a new trial. Well, this is not considered in normal practice. A new trial means you have to begin right from the beginning. So normally only adjournment is taken. So I hope 216 is very clear to everyone. Let's take up an important case. Hasan Bhai Wali Bhai Qureshi, I hope I'm pronouncing well, versus State of Gujarat, 2004 Criminal Law Journal, 2018 Supreme Court. Supreme Court held that the alteration of charge by trial court is permissible if exigencies of the case warrant or necessitates. It simply means the trial court has the power to alter the charge. Let's take up another important case. Sohan Lal versus State of Rajasthan, 1990 Criminal Law Journal, 2303 Supreme Court. In this case, it was held by the Supreme Court that when the accused were discharged of all the charges and no charge existed against them, an application under section 216 was not maintainable in their case. Now let's understand, this is very interesting. If the accused has been discharged from all the charges, means he is acquitted. So an application under 216 to alter the charge cannot be allowed, man, because it's going to be start afresh, since you cannot connect to any of the crime which you mentioned previously in the charge. Got it? Okay, let's move. Finally, we covered section 216, alter or the add, which is having 5 parts. Now we come to recall. Section 217, it got 2 parts, A and B. A says recall, resummon and examine whom? The witnesses. And the B part says any further witnesses as the court may think to be material. Let's cover this section in detail now. Section 217, recall of witnesses when charge altered. Section 217 says whenever a charge is altered or added by the court after the commencement of the trial, the prosecutor and the accused shall be doing 2 things. 1. A. To recall or resummon and examine with reference to such alteration or addition any witnesses whom may have been examined, unless the court, for reasons to be recorded in writing, considers that the prosecutor or the accused, as the case may be, desires to recall or re-examine such witnesses for the purposes of vexation or delay or for defeating the ends of justice. And B part of section 217 says also to call any further witnesses whom the court may think to be material. Now this is how we read in Bail Act. The ordinary explanation to section 217 will be that when alteration or addition has been done, we can recall witnesses for and re-examine them. But from judicial point of view, we need to understand section 217 properly. Let's cover it in jail law classes style. Section 217 says whenever a charge is altered or added to by the court, which means whenever a charge is altered or added by the court, there are 2 things which it says alter or added by the court. The second important factor which we need to understand after the commencement of the trial. Next, the prosecutor and the accused shall be allowed. Now what are they going to be allowed? The A part of section 217 says they are going to be allowed to recall or re-examine any of the witnesses they want. But there is a condition. They can examine with reference to such alteration or addition as been done by the court. the whole case will not be reopened. Only that part will be allowed to re-examine the witnesses, the part which is altered or the part which is added by the court. Now the question may come, can the court refuse to re-examine a witness? Yes, the court can refuse to re-examine witnesses. It will give reasons to be recorded in writing. This is what section 217 says. And the basic reasons can be that if the court considered that the prosecutor or the accused will cause only delay, or such delay will be defeating the ends of justice. So the court can refuse the prosecutor or the accused from re-examining any of the witnesses. And a very important fact, the B part of section 217 says, if the alteration and addition has been done by the court can itself call for witnesses. This is what B part says, call for any further witnesses whom the court may think fit to be material. Whenever the court think it is important, the court will itself call for witnesses to be re-examined. Let's take a break. Before we come back, remember my request. Respect your elders, love kids, make this world a better place to live.